Oliotia alio Bukedi Times. My name is Kiria Onkonichalo Chisaka Idembe. Today we are in Kampala specifically for Dr. Musenero. Nice to meet you, Doctor.
Thank you. It's been a while.
Yeah. Maybe you introduce yourself to them.
This is Dr. Monica Musenero. I carry a number of identities. One, I'm your Minister for Science, Technology and Innovation, a portfolio I've been privileged to hold since 2021. I'm also a Bukedi. People call me Mama Bukedi because of my passion for bringing together leadership to develop Bukedi. But I'm also the most recently acquired title is the NRM Chair, Butevo District. Yes.
Maybe for starters, we have known you before the NRM, chairperson NRM. You had the Bukedi Development Strategic Plan. Where is it now?
About a little more than a year ago, actually starting June 2024, the people of Bukedi, we felt like we needed to come together and begin to put together a development plan. This is something that we had attempted to make for a long time through our different leaders, but this time we succeeded. And working with a small group of people representing all the 7 districts. By the way, now there are going to be 10 districts and a city. So we have an expanded Bukedi. But representing those people, we came together, led by a small team, the strategic think tank, and we came up with the first Bukedi strategic development plan, a plan for wealth creation. We focused mostly on wealth creation because that is the emphasis of the president. And on August 22nd, His Excellency the President launched that plan, and we developed a summary booklet, which we all know. Almost every Bukedi who cares has seen this book. And so in that strategic plan, although there are so many other things, but the most common things or the most known things and the ones that we have been pushing is to make sure that we have cash crop. We have a perennial cash crop, because in our studies we found that if an area does not have something that gives them regular money, it's going to be difficult for that community to change. I studied a certain community in Malaysia. Malaysia adopted the oil palm from West Africa. Now the Malaysian government pushed and people got oil palm. Now after a while, the first generation was in oil palm and they were making money from there, but that money helped them to educate their children. And so most of the children now and the grandchildren of those people work in high-tech companies. So the government of Malaysia started buying the farms because the people who are farming became few and old. So we are looking at Bukedi adopting certain perennial crops. If we have like coffee will enable us to educate our children. You know, there are certain things that you look at in our area, and they are very small things. For example, government has UPE. But what fails the children? What fails children to study is the children do not eat. They don't have food, and households don't seem to have a consistent source of food. Now, the only known way of school feeding has been globally is for food to be provided at school. That is what will give us consistency. So when we have a perennial crop, households are going to start and change. So we undertook a chivalo. Which of these will put money in the pocket of the farmer at the household? And so this strategic plan, we identified coffee. We are focusing on Robusta coffee and then cocoa as the main perennial plants. But in both coffee and cocoa, we are promoting bananas. You can plant any banana. You can plant matoke, you can plant mavide and make for us muvisi. You can plant indizi, you can plant bogoya, you can plant gonja. The bananas contribute to being shade crops, but also they contribute to the household because coffee and cocoa take 2.5 to 3 years to start yielding, but the banana takes only 1 year. After 1 year, the person will start harvesting. So we think that if we can combine these perennial crops, there are 3. The main ones that we expect to get money out of is coffee and cocoa. The banana will be the earlier one, but it is also food, and it is the bridging one. It's a multi-purpose crop. We are bringing something to support the bananas. I ordered machines which extract fiber. You remember I brought some people from Chambogo University. So we hope in October we will start the training. We are going to be putting up, constructing the training center near St. Paul there, the first one, so that we get money from the toke, but we also get money from the fiber. And that will help people to earn a bit more money out of the banana also. Now, for us to be able to sustain the soil fertility, given that we have small pieces of land, but also the land is a bit exhausted, we are promoting dairy. Because of our small pieces of land, very few people really get a lot of money from dairy. The biggest first product that we want from these dairy animals is cow dung and manure. So you can do dairy or you can do poultry. They will give us the manure. Now we've calculated that if you can get 1 acre of land, just 1 acre, you will be able to break even, you will be able to pay school fees for your children, you will be able to provide nutrition for your family properly, and you will be able to cover most medical costs. Our first target is was 3 million per household on average. Of course, there will be those homes that will get very much money, but then there will be those who cannot afford to have an acre. But if you can plant at least 100 plants of coffee, at least if you don't have, that is about 1/4 an acre. That same land, you can plant there bananas. And that same land, you can actually put in, beans, especially, and some vegetables. But if we have at least 1/2 an acre of land, even the poorest household in Bukedi can have an income. And then we'll start from there. The next generation will not be suffering. So the strategic plan in that aspect has moved on very, very well.
Maybe ever since you launched the coffee and the cocoa seedling center, what is really on the people embraced it, and you could hear get calls, where are the seeds? How can we get seeds? What is practical?
So what is practical? We had 2 approaches to getting seedlings of both coffee and cocoa. The first approach was to have the commercial nursery owners, but we work together with NARO, with the narrow entity and my Minister of Agriculture to make sure that they are supplying the right type of seedlings so people can go and buy. Now the second approach, which is meant to supply especially the low-income earners at the Seed Multiplication Center at Datik. We had the first phase. Now, at the time when we started, we found that seedlings were very scarce. They were very scarce. So the first approach was to bring in some seedlings. So we brought in 240,000 seedlings of coffee, and we brought in 90,000 seedlings of cocoa. Of course, that's just a drop in the ocean. But then we planted our own there. And I think they're about ready. People are buying. But the next phase of is attached to a project by a company called Nonda. This project is being co-implemented between Uganda and a company from Saudi Arabia. And so we agreed that given the rains the way they are, we want mostly to launch that, because for people who are at the lower level, the households, we are going to give them either very highly subsidized or free seedlings. I want to see every household at least have an opportunity. Of course, some people can refuse. Some people can refuse, but I want to make sure that at least every household can have access to a minimum of 100 seedlings. But the one thing I have seen is there is this group of people, we call them the diaspora. Now, diaspora for us in Bukedi, it does not necessarily mean people living outside the country. It's people who are from Bukedi, but they're in Kampala, they're in Jinja, they are working outside Bukedi. Those people, if you recall, we had a breakfast. And by the way, we are going to have the next breakfast this year. We have started the preparations. We are going to have the next breakfast. Those people have come on board mightily. They came on board and they have been buying seedlings. We are going to do a census before the breakfast to see how much acreage we have now. So, in short, the strategic plan is moving. Of course, we have the promise from His Excellency, and we have started the budgeting cycle this year. We are hoping that we will manage to push such that they can put in some money to support the strategic plan of Bukedi. We are also working with National Planning Authority to make sure that our strategic plan is formally adopted in the national plan. Because we did it as a leadership there, when we brought it here, they wanted us to formally integrate it, and so we are working on that. But I want to thank the Bakedi, especially you, the diaspora. You have adopted this strategic plan. You have embraced it. I don't think there is anything which has brought together Bukedi like this strategic plan. And I feel so proud. It's not my work, it is your work. It is the work of all of us. Can you imagine? Every week we have a development meeting, a strategic plan implementation meeting. We meet on Zoom or on Google Meet, and we discuss topics of interest. I think for me this is the first time this has happened, and this is run by the people. They have run because to make sure that we bring people together, we set up a platform known as Budeko. Budeko is Bukedi Development Consortium.
Maybe the seedling center is for Bukedi.
Yes, the seedling center is for Bukedi.
And I know that, I don't think whether, do you still have seeds there?
Yes, we have seedlings.
According to the people you have distributed the seeds to, what are they talking about?
In fact, just today I saw discussions. People are sharing now the experiences, because you know when you implement something new, people have to learn So people are sharing the experiences, those whose seedlings have germinated, those who have had challenges with the seedlings, some deaths, including me. I planted 4 acres of coffee. I have had about, actually I planted 5 acres of coffee, but the 1 acre is separate. In the 1 acre, when I planted the first time, we had very little knowledge. So I lost almost 80% of the seedlings. Then I replanted. Now that one I have about 95% which have germinated because the team has gained experience. In another place where I have planted 4 acres of coffee, I have about 50% in that place because I want to encourage people to do something which I have experience with. And so I'm studying what has caused my coffee seedlings to die, but for many people, the extra rain, we have had extra rain this year in that area. We have had a sort of what I would call positively abnormal rain. When we expected a drought, it actually kept raining. So it's actually doing well. People have started sharing pictures of their about 6 months coffee and also cocoa. So that is happening. The experience is they are planting and they are buying. They are buying the seedlings because we planted at the seed multiplication center, and I keep getting reports of people buying. So you can see they sell 2 million a week, then we reinvest that money so that other people can get it. So it is the seed multiplication center, we are going to expand it greatly. Yes, we are going to expand it greatly because government, I was talking to the Minister of Agriculture, and the government is thinking actually of boosting supply of coffee seedlings. We are hoping that they can also bring cocoa because not only Bukedi, but northern Uganda, even Teso region is now taken up coffee and cocoa. And coffee and cocoa are doing quite well on the market. Not only are we aggressively developing value addition in the country, but the export market, the prices have been very good and they are going to stay good for a while.
Maybe still on the development strategic plan, people say the plan is so complicated, the chivalo in the plan. We know it is, when you look at the plan, it is so beautiful to be true.
That plan is based on data which was collected in real time. For example, when we talk about what do you need to plant coffee, that plan is very simple. We simplified it, and we don't even need to tell you how much you need. What we need to tell you is how do we generate how much you need in your specific, how do we, then you can use your own experience or the local experience. For example, when we are calculating labor for planting or for plowing, it varies. You go to Butevo, it's different. You go to Busia, it is different. You talk about the price of land, it is different. Chivalo is not complicated. Chivalo is something I can teach a villager who has not gone to school in 1 hour, and they are able to do that because that strategic plan, the foundation is Chivalo. The foundation is Chivalo. How much money does it need, do you need to have? Not at the same time, but if I'm going to plant coffee over the 3 years when it starts yielding, how much money will I have put in? It doesn't mean that you need to have that money in your hands. And then it also brings out some of the things that you are going to need. That small booklet is very simple. and we are always available to explain it. Always available to explain it to anybody who needs to know.
According to the strategic plan, how long do you think people will take to adopt to? Is it 5, 10 years?
This first 5 years, we have run 1 year. So in the next 4 years, we believe that we'll have reached the peak of adoption of our primary inputs, our primary crops, coffee and cocoa. And the speed at which we are moving, we have covered what we call the diaspora, because for them, they have some access to money. They are willing to buy the seedlings. They don't have to wait. Once we now come in with the lower level people, I see Minister of Agriculture has actually started giving a few seedlings for free, but we're also lobbying different sources, so that once we can now give those who cannot afford to buy, this is going to take off. And we believe government will give us funds for that.
You talked about the diaspora, those outside Bukedi that are embracing.
Yes. Do you have
the diaspora that is against the strategic plan?
Those ones cannot fail to be there. There are people who live in opposition of anything, especially on WhatsApp groups. I learned that people on WhatsApp groups, most of the WhatsApp groups, they will oppose, they'll just oppose anything. They just oppose anything. But those ones have always been there. We have developed Uganda now. The president tells us how we have developed. Has it been because there is no opposition? There is opposition. But for those who are opposition, what I can tell you is don't simply oppose. People on the ground need a solution. And the solution doesn't need to be 100%. If we can have a solution, actually, a 40% solution is better than nothing. But if we can achieve 70% of the people adopting coffee, cocoa with the livestock for manure and keeping the soil fertile, Bukedi is going to be a very, very different sub-region.